All right. Welcome, beautiful souls, back for another episode of the Faith Fitness Joy podcast. I am your health coach, healer, and host, Rochelle Renee. And today I am following up on my dive into the viral TikTok trend that some creators have dubbed Ricezempic due to the alleged weight loss benefits of this trend. Now, I have recently completed 30 days of this Ricezempic weight loss trend, if you will, and I will explain it shortly if you're not familiar with what it is. And today I am back with an update. I have received a number of questions and comments on my TikTok channel and my YouTube channel. And so I'm back to share the results I got doing this for a month and then also address some of the questions that I've received on those other platforms. So today I'm going to briefly explain what Ricezempic is, or AKA rice water for weight loss. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the recipe for the rice water for weight loss if you want to give it a try yourself. And then last but not least, I'm going to share the results that I have had after doing this for 30 days. But first, just a friendly reminder to please like and subscribe to my podcast as well as my YouTube channel if you are not already a subscriber to those. It really helps me a lot, and I really appreciate your support and all of those who are subscribed. And also, if you like this podcast or my blog and you would like to support my work, make monetary contributions, they are greatly appreciated. That helps me a lot as well. So if you want to do that, you can check out the link in the description of the episode in my YouTube channel, or you can grab the link in the comments here on Facebook. If you're watching the replay or catching me live, I will share that after I am done with today's show. So, all right, let's dive into today's topic, Ricezempic. I imagine some of you are like, what the hell is she talking about? If you haven't heard of it before. So this term, Ricezempic, was coined by some TikTok creators who have apparently lost some weight by doing this. And basically it's drinking rice water first thing in the morning. So I came across it first when a man popped up on my For You page while I was scrolling TikTok, and he was talking about how I think he had said he'd lost 7 pounds in 5 days at the time that I came across the video. And so I was kind of intrigued, and he was talking a little bit about like what it was, how he'd been doing it. And I believe, well, I remember one of the things that he was kind of joking around about when he was talking about it was that he doesn't like exercise, doesn't want to diet, he didn't want to do all that crazy stuff. So he tried this, and he's been, at least for that 5-day period of time that I had come across his video, he had some success with it. So subsequent to running across his video, I saw another woman that popped up on my For You page not long after that. And these aren't people that I follow, so I'm sorry, I don't know the creators' names. They just, like I said, they popped up in my feed. But she had said she'd lost 12 pounds, and I think she had also been doing it for about a week at that time, or maybe a week plus. And then last, I saw another woman who I think ended up being one of the first ones to share about it, because I'd seen a second video of hers like sometime later. But anyway, she had said at the time that she had lost 11 pounds in a week from doing this. Now, seeing as how I've been struggling with breaking this plateau that I have seemed to have found myself in since I moved from California to Montana a couple of years ago, I decided to give this a try. I mean, after all, it's basically just rice water, and you drink in the morning. And so, I mean, it's a tad bit more involved, but not much. And so anyway, this viral Ricezempic is basically just water with citrus juice, lime or lemon juice in it, and you drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. So we'll get more into that in a little bit, because I know a lot of times questions come up about some of the, the specifics with that. So really quick, the recipe, before I kind of get into some of the other, stuff I wanted to share with you today. If you want to try this yourself, it's very simple. It's basically half a cup of rice. You can do a cup of rice, but the general recipe is half a cup of rice. It could be white or brown rice. It doesn't matter what kind. except that it can't be instant. So don't use instant rice, fast cooking rice, pre-cooked rice. It needs to be like uncooked, whole grain, white or brown rice. And then you're going to double the amount of water. So for half a cup of rice, you're going to use a cup of water. For a cup of rice, it's going to be about 2 cups of water. You want to use warm or hot water. And I just use my little kettle and boil water, and then I would put the, pour it over the rice, and just enough to cover the rice, a little bit more than that. And then squeeze the juice of a lime or lemon into the liquid and just give it a little stir, let it sit for 5 minutes. That's basically the recipe. And then you drink it fresh. Well, you strain the rice out of the water, right? Or you strain the water. So I just use like one of those little handheld strainers, put it over a cup, and then pour the liquid into the cup, into the strainer, so that you just get the rice water, and discard the rice so you don't use the rice again after that. That's basically how you make it, and then you just drink that on an empty stomach. So before I go any further with kind of giving you all an update on my results, since I've also had some questions about that on my YouTube channel and on my TikTok, since I shared this the first time, one of the questions that I got was, can you drink coffee? So a lot of people were asking, like, can you not have anything? Can you drink coffee? Can you have anything else while you're, after you do this, do you have to wait, kind of thing? So again, this is not like something that there's like this, a lot of consensus or agreement about or whatever, since it seems like it kind of sprung up on TikTok. That being said, as I went into in the previous episode that I did about this, which was episode 121, if you want to go back and listen to the research that I did about it, and some of the more in-depth information I've provided in that episode, there's different ways you can do it, but generally, you drink it on an empty stomach and you wait at least 30 minutes before you have anything else. Now, that being said, I think the idea here is, like with anything else, like if you're familiar with intermittent fasting, for example, you don't want to consume anything that will break your fast, which means usually something about 50 calories or more will break your fast, will take your body out of a fasting state. With, of course, there's a bunch of different caveats and such, but that's kind of a general, very simplified rule around fasting. So I would just say it's probably the same idea with this. If you drink coffee black, like I do, you could probably drink your coffee after you drink the rice water. However, if you put creamer, sugar, milk, anything like that in your coffee, I would say you probably want to wait and hold off on drinking your coffee, because you will probably break your fast if you drink your coffee like that. So that's what I would recommend. And again, like I said, most people, most of the stuff I came across seem to agree that you need to wait at least 30 minutes before you consume any kind of food after you drink the rice water. So I would say it's probably better to be safe than sorry if you want to give this a try, and hold off for at least 30 minutes before you drink your morning coffee. The second question that I got, which ended up creating far more controversy than I expected a little post about rice water to stir up. But one of the questions was, do you rinse the rice first? Like I said, this raised some unexpected debate, and from some people kind of heated in a way. But what I found, so when I was looking at how different people did this, it, generally speaking, it seemed like most agreed you don't rinse the water first. You just soak it in the warm water, let it sit for 5 minutes. Like I said, give it a couple stirs when you first mix it together, and after, before you strain it, and then you drink the water. However, there was some concerns that people were asking me about related to arsenic in the rice. So that sent me down a whole other rabbit hole of research about the arsenic in the rice. So the short answer is that there's trace amounts of arsenic in all of the rice that we consume, at least here in the States. I don't know, I can't speak for other parts of the world, but that's what I came across when I was looking into this. From the research I did, it didn't seem like it was particularly of concern, that it's kind of something that happens as a result of the way that the rice is grown. irrigation, water, pesticides from either growing the rice crops themselves or from other crops nearby. This is probably true of a lot of the produce that we have, just with the use of pesticides and different things in growing the food. So that did come up. The other thing I found is that depending on where you live or where the rice is grown, certain states, I guess, the rice grown in certain states may have higher amounts of arsenic in it than if it's grown in other states. For whatever that's worth, it seemed again that like there's a known sort of level of it in the rice. But it also, I got kind of it is what it is sort of tone from it. So that's what I found about that. Now, if you're seriously concerned about the arsenic, you could try rinsing the rice first. I don't know how this will affect the potential results of doing the rice water, because as I went into more in depth in the previous episode about this, some of the benefit seems to come from the breakdown of the proteins in the rice when it's in the water. And so I don't know how much of that is lost if you rinse the rice before you make the rice water. And then again, if you're that concerned about the arsenic, it's probably better to avoid rice altogether, because like I said, what I found is that it's in rice, period. Like it's not really, there's some trace amounts of it in rice, regardless of what you do. So that's just a side note about that, but it is a question that had come up when I was, after I shared the episode 121 about Ricezempic and whether you can lose weight doing this. Otherwise, there's not much else I can say about it based on what I looked into when I was researching that question. The other question I had was, how many times a day do you do this? Is it just the first thing in the morning? So the trend on TikTok and the creators I've come across that have done it, that's what they do is once in the morning. That's what I did. I just drank it on the first thing in the morning. That being said, when I looked into this, there's different methods. Rice water actually, I should have mentioned this before, just to be clear, because it's important to note that this is not really a new thing. Using it for weight loss perhaps is a new thing, but rice water has actually been a thing for thousands of years. Different cultures have used it, have made it, and some actually include other things besides like the lime juice or just the rice and the water. If you look into it, you'll find that in some cases it may be that you're adding other spices with it to get the benefit of those additional spices along with the rice water. It's also, some cultures, they drink it as well for skin and hair. Some of them use it on their skin and hair. I've even seen stuff talking about you can use it for watering your plants because it's beneficial for that. So there's lots of different uses for it, and it's not like a new thing. I think what maybe has sparked it as a trend is people talking about using it for weight loss and spreading it around on TikTok that way. So that being said, as I was researching it, I did see that there are some, one of the things I found is that you could also do this before you eat every meal for like 30 minutes before you eat anything. So theoretically, you could do this 3 times a day. You might get more benefit from it that way. I'm not sure. But like I said, the creators that I had come across that had the somewhat pretty incredible weight loss results from, I'm sorry, my dog is sneezing back here behind me. But the ones that had this pretty incredible results, we're just doing the same one I'm sharing here in the episode today, which is just, the in the morning, first thing, empty stomach, 30 minutes before consuming anything else. Okay. So let's get into my results and what I found. So I decided to do this for a full month. I figured, just based on decades of trying different things when it comes to weight loss and dieting and exercise and all that stuff, I know anything you see in a week is probably to be taken with a grain of salt. Oftentimes it's water weight that you'll see when you first start any kind of a new plan. In my personal experience, it's always like that first week you'll see like kind of your biggest drop, and then after that it will be a little bit less significant or substantial week to week, depending on if you are tracking your progress week to week. Now, normally I do not do that because I usually track it every couple weeks, but since I was only doing this for a month, I did track every week. Like I said, I just thought, why not give it a try, give it a full month and see what happens after doing this for a full month. So before I go into the results, just to clarify my usual routine and my nutrition, because that's also relevant to this, I think there's a big difference in doing this in isolation and not exercising and not changing your diet versus if you're doing a lot of the same things I'm going to share with you that I do, it's going to yield different results. That being said, the 3 creators I came across, I think only one of them mentioned that she also exercises and watches what she eats. The male guy, the guy that I saw that did a video about it, was joking about how he does not do those things. He does not want to do those things. And he got results as well. So my general routine every day, if you've been following me for some time, you know that I am big on health and fitness. That's obviously a huge component of what I talk about in this podcast and on my blog. So my general routine, I exercise 90 minutes plus every day. Not every, sometimes it's just 90 minutes, other times it's a little bit more depending on what's going on, how much time I have, how much energy I have. So my workout routine includes weightlifting, and then I also do some form of cardio, usually cardio kickboxing, just because that's my favorite form of cardio. Sometimes it's just walking, or some other type of workout video that I like, that I find enjoyable. I also follow an intuitive whole food eating approach, meaning it's a balanced diet of lean protein, fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, emphasizing complex carbohydrates, meaning higher amount of fiber per serving compared to more simple carbohydrates, let's say. And then, of course, beneficial fat. So that's generally how I eat. I cook at home for most of the meals that we have. I really try to minimize the amount of highly processed foods. It's not to say we don't eat any processed foods, but I really try to keep it to a minimum. I try to prioritize, fewer ingredients, or at least ingredients I can pronounce and recognize in the things that we get, maybe in the middle of the aisles in the grocery store, middle part of the grocery store, let's say. So that's just what I do. That's my approach. That's how, that's what I have for my nutrition and my exercise routine. So that's what I'm doing day to day as I added this rice water to what I'm already doing. I also usually, the intuitive part of the eating approach is that I'm generally following my appetite. So eating to satiation, eating when I feel hungry, kind of following my body's hunger cues and satiation cues. That being said, in recent months, I have been combining this nutritional approach I just described with macro tracking, because I've been stuck, like I mentioned a few minutes ago. So I'm trying to get myself unstuck and moving in the direction I want to go again. So all that being said, again, I just wanted to be really clear about that. It's not like I'm not working out and following good nutrition while I'm also giving this rice water a try. I do think that would have an impact on potential results. So my conclusion after doing this for 30 days with everything I just described is that it is probably more of a placebo effect than anything else that these folks have seen. At least the ones that I came across that shared on TikTok. For one thing, I gained about 2 pounds for every week that I did this, which I take with a grain of salt, since I know the scale is only part of the picture, and I've come to just kind of dismiss what the scale says in general, because as I've talked about in other podcast episodes, you really need to look at more than just the scale. You need to look at things like how your clothes fit, your body measurements, pictures, and track your progress over time with those other things in addition to the scale, because the scale in and of itself is a very crappy measure of like your progress with weight loss. So all that aside, that is what I saw as I was doing this for the 4 weeks that I did it. Now, while the scale went up the first week and subsequent weeks, actually, what's interesting is I did lose about 6 inches across all of my body measurements. So like, you measure like all the different parts of your body and you add up your changes across all of those. So that resulted in a net loss of 6 inches over my whole, all of my body measurements collectively. But that was it. then it stopped. So my measurements remained exactly the same from week 2 to week 4. And that's it. And except the scale did keep going up 2 pounds every week. So that's weird. Like my measurements didn't move further, but the scale went up about 2 pounds every week. I don't know why. I really don't attribute that to the rice water. This is something that's kind of been the story of my life since I've been old enough to be aware of my weight, and tracking it and all of that kind of stuff. One thing that I've learned is that my body does tend to seem resistant to weight loss, and I'm pretty sure that a fair amount of that has to do with, my past decades of extremes in dieting and exercise, which is why one of the other reasons I talk about all of these things in this podcast to try to help you avoid those same pitfalls that I've learned the hard way from different fad diets and extremes, like I mentioned. And I share a lot about that on here. So it's also worth noting that while the scale didn't change, I did see a decrease in my body measurements, like I said. So there may have been some sort of a boost that the rice water had, albeit small. I just don't know that it's really worth it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, let's say. So based on my results, I would conclude it's more trouble than it's worth. There's probably better things you can do with your rice. I do not intend to continue doing this. I have since stopped now that I've passed my 30-day mark. However, if you are interested in trying it for yourself, I will quickly recap the potential health benefits of drinking rice water that I did find when I was researching this for the first episode I did on this. And I'm not going to go into these in depth like I did in that episode, but I'll just recap the main benefits I found that the research I did seemed to support. So the first one is that it helps hydrate you, and it also kind of replenishes electrolytes. The second thing is it helps with digestive health, which I do think is probably a lot that it has a lot to do with some of the benefits these other folks have seen. It sort of seems to have like a pre or probiotic effect to it based on what I came across in the research. It's also high in antioxidants and vitamin C because of the lemon and lime juice, depending on what you're using, but they both have pretty much the same amounts of each. And potentially weight loss support. Now, there was different things about this. It has soluble fibers in it, and that is one of those is one that can potentially aid in helping you feel full longer. It's called oligosaccharides. So that's one of the things about it. There was also some studies that showed rice water might aid in weight loss due to inositol, which is a compound that the rice water has that may help with regulating your metabolism and improving insulin sensitivity. So that could be why people that are seeing the results. I mean, they jokingly call it Ricezempic, but it's kind of interesting that that's the term they came up with, because that is Ozempic. It's kind of a play on that name. But that is a drug that's used for people that have diabetes to help with managing that. And insulin sensitivity is a big factor in diabetes. So there may be something to it for that. I don't know, but that is one of the things I came across in looking at the research. And then it's also got ties to uses in other cultures, as I mentioned, and because of healing properties and other potential benefits in that regard. So that was a little bit, that's a quick list of some of the benefits that potential health benefits I found when I was researching this in the past for the previous episode I did about this. And then I also shared some of the actual research I came across and some of the stuff I found in there. But I'm not going to go back into that today. If you want to go check out episode 121, I did go in depth about this quite a bit in that episode. So there could be something to the Ricezempic thing. Then again, there may not be. I'm not convinced based on my own results. That being said, these other folks, they seem to get some pretty impressive results from it. And, I don't know if that's continued for them. I haven't seen anything further from those folks that I came across on TikTok in the past. But regardless of that, drinking rice water with lemon or lime juice does seem to offer other potential health benefits to it. So it's not, I don't think there's any harm in giving it a try if you want to give it a try and see if it might boost your own weight loss efforts. If nothing else, it might add to some of the other health benefits that you might be seeking. It could also help with your hair and your skin. Like I said, that's been one of the uses for many years, many millennia actually, in some of these other cultures. But as always, it's good to check with your healthcare professional if you have any concerns or doubts or any questions about it that you might want to make sure related to your own unique health conditions or health questions. So that's what I have for you today. That is my update on my results of doing the Ricezempic rice water trend for 30 days. Just curious if any of you have tried it out since I last talked about this on the podcast, or if you think you're going to give it a try. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what your experiences were if you've already tried it, or if you would be open to sharing them in the comments below, either on the YouTube channel or here on the Facebook video. So please share with us if you have tried it and what your results were, or if you plan to give it a try. I would love to hear from you. So with that, I will wish you all a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful week ahead. Stay healthy, stay happy, and keep pursuing faith, fitness, and joy. All right, I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today.